Hey.
Hello.
Who is ready for the first panel of TFcon 2022? That was an excellent melange of noise. And it's very inspiring to those of us up here. Is it not an anniversary of TFcon? It is? You might even say it's like the 20th anniversary of TFcon, maybe? Am I making a cheap ploy to hype up the people who might be standing outside and we know they're there and they better step inside because we can see them? We can't, don't tell them that. And they'd really enjoy this panel if they came in right now for the 20th anniversary of TFcon in Toronto. Cheap pop!
Yeah!
Maple Leafs! Is that still a pop? Yeah, okay.
Too soon!
We are here to talk to you for about half an hour. My name is Chris, also Vangelist, sometimes Internet, and I'm joined by two folks such as...
I'm Adam. Some people online call me BILLMOO, but I help with the Transformers TCG online.
And my name is Anthony. I am known as HAWKHAMMER online, and I run a channel called Servants of the Dice Gods that is meant to be a variety board gaming channel, but we do have a very slight focus towards the Transformers TCG.
Now, the Transformers TCG in 2022, is that, by the way, a set of words you can see on a screen right now?
Yeah.
What a coincidence. Well, Adam BILLMOO, sorry, Bill Madamoo. Bill Madamoo. What's this slide presentation of the Transformers TCG? Did they make one of those that might have cards lined up on the front of the table?
Oh yes, yeah. You can actually come up afterwards and take a look at some of the cards here, but we'll have actually more cards that exist only in the post-cancellation Transformers TCG. It's stuff you might have seen when you were buying the game, when it was still official and supported.
Once supported by Wizards of the Coast, called WotC by some, because that's a really weird way to pronounce WOTC, but you know, you do what you do. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that Transformers TCG?
Well, we might as well talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. Just for a general outline, yeah, we're going to tell you again, I guess, who we are. Talk a little bit about the lifeline of the game as it was when, the funny thing is we're going to talk a little bit about this too, like, a lot of people just didn't know that the game even existed, and we're going to discuss that a little bit. But there is this community era that the game does exist in now. We'll be talking about the future of the game and, yeah, kind of where to find us and open the floor to some questions.
Hell yeah!
All right. We already introduced ourselves, so if you didn't know that we're a bunch of pirate flags, except for me.
Arr!
Here we are. Thanks, Rogers. I couldn't actually download pictures of Chris Internet Evangelist. And,
do you know there's like moisture on my eyeball that gets on your glasses when you do that kind of eye patch trick?
Wait, what?
That's true.
The more you know.
Glistening sweat drops coming
Yeah.
out. But, yeah. One question I want to ask the audience here. For everybody in the room, who actually knew that there was a Transformers TCG? Okay, so that's a pretty good percentage.
About a third.
Yeah. Yeah, for those that were actually engaged in the game, you might have noticed that the marketing actually for the game wasn't that great. Like, it was almost like a sort of, yeah, exactly, zero. It was kind of like a situation where Hasbro was like, well, we made this great game, but then part of the company doesn't want to market it either because there's other things, magic, that they're looking to publish, and you know, that
we don't want to gather all of our resources and tap them dry to cyclonic rift your legendary dragon. So even though there was no marketing for this game, we knew it existed. In fact, the fellow there with no hair on his head right now with the red shirt signed an NDA about the game once, and that's why he can't talk about it up here.
Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
I signed one too, but
Yeah, well,
I'm in Canada.
Well, I'm not going to talk to him later. I'm not going to talk to him later. Let's talk later.
Let's talk later.
Yeah. For those that were in the know, yeah, there were quite a few Transformers TCG releases. All the number of them listed on screen here. As far as like the lifespan of the game and the number of cards that were released in that time, you know, it was a pretty rich, full 18 months of life, and or you know, it was kind of that, you know, like Magic the Gathering sort of, you know, cadence where they're like, you know, boom, 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 sets every 3 months. Once Titan Master's Attack obviously came out, then just boom, nothing. You know?
Yeah, they even had one large international, technically, event, the Energon Invitational. I placed 37th in that out of over 160 people, so witness me!
I didn't
For the record, he still maintains that holding.
Yeah.
37.
I didn't drop out. A lot of people dropped out and ended up with a 999. I stayed in.
I dropped out.
However, we are joined by the final champion of an EI qualifier event. None other than Adam / BILLMOO. / Adam BILLMOO.
Yeah, that guy's cool.
It's pretty neat.
Last ever. There'll never be another one. And then there was a day that happened. We were all sort of holed up in our houses, going, when is the end of the world going to pass? When is this awful plague going to, you know, fly over our doors, never to come again? We all had that one little hope that, you know, just locked in our houses. But, you know, maybe when this is all over, we'll at least have a game to go back to. We'll be able to go back to our, you know, friendly little game stores, meet up with all of our friends that we played the game with, and go back to the Transformers TCG.
There's no way that I would stream opening a booster box of Titan Master's Attack really excitedly, only for less than 24 hours later, those words to show up on an official Facebook page as though it were my fault.
It was his fault. But with the ending of things comes new beginnings. And along with all the sort of random chaos and drama that comes with that, we get into what is the current era of the game. And so I think it was pretty safe to say that after the big cancellation, at least in online communities and people that were really engaged with the game, it was definitely safe to say that more than a few people wanted to save the game. And I'm going to show you a little, there's a little word cloud. Just keep in mind that when you see the word cloud, it's probably about 100 names bigger than this. So these were
just a couple,
just a few people, just a few groups that wanted to create new cards for the game. And you know, that was a bit of a blessing today as far as Roger's going online, because these were just simply the names that we could pull out of the top of our brains.
Some of these fonts, by the way, are sending me.
You don't like the papyrus?
I don't mind papyrus. I was taught not to like papyrus.
I see, because the papyrus is in salmon. It's a delicious salmon.
I love salmon. Actually, I like tuna more than salmon. That's a different podcast panel we'll be doing at some point on Sunday.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a lot of people. And I would say for about 3 to 6 months right after the cancellation, it's basically every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Joe, and Jane, just coming out of the woodwork, just like, oh, I made cards. I installed Magic Set Editor. I pumped out 10 or 15 cards that play fantastically great. And yeah, for better or for worse, it was a very confusing time for everybody, I think.
Can confirm, it was a mess navigating everything. The amount of spreadsheets I had to keep track of everything was ridiculous.
Yeah, and some of the names in this word cloud are still present, but for the most part, I would say in the current time, things have kind of coalesced around these 4 logos. We sort of share what is known as allied crossplay, which is sort of an ideal that we have sort of embraced as, yeah, sure, there are cards coming from different creators, and despite that, we all work together and we test each other's work, we celebrate each other's work and support it, and we work to, sort of create a fundamentally unified community of gameplay where, yeah, it's not just one person pumping out a bunch of cards, it's a bunch of people that are collaborating and looking to bring a very balanced, high standard, high definition sort of experience to the game.
To kind of give a very quick layout of what a lot of this allied crossplay stuff means, as someone who's witnessed and played with a lot of it without being like a card dev necessarily, it is a lot of folks who have their own ideas, but there are unifying tenets like having a testing beta system, implementing public beta tests as Bayformers is just exiting in the next couple of months with their next set, having folks like one Technomagus on hand who has an incredible mind for rules. So when people come up with a card and the wording is a bit messy, Techno might say, hey, what do you want this card to do? And then sort out a wording that follows like a good, simple templating that doesn't close off potential doors of card development later. It's all about people who want positive player experience for the most part, which we'll go into later, or if you meet us in another room at some point, we can go into.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit here in the future, but We haven't had as many releases in the last well, it's been like 18, 20 months at
About
this point.
that.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It's been about a year since 2019, and we had a lot of stuff come out.
A year, more like a millennia.
Yeah, the timeline keeps expanding into the future, but it still remains 2010, or 2020, which is really bizarre. Yeah, in the time that we've been developing since the cancellation of the game, we've come out with 3 releases: Wave 6 World Strike, where we debuted the Quintessons, and we do have some examples up here. Once you
Green top is Quintesson top.
yeah, green tops. If they look a little squiggly and a little bit shifty and green, you'll know that you're on the right track. Wave 7 Turbo Revving Old Punks, which is another group that sort of popped up in the post-cancellation era that we started partnering with. They also did a smaller release called Monster Menagerie, which is sort of a spooky Halloween release. Lots of spooky characters in there like Fangry, Megatron Ratchet, which this guy has certainly embraced in the current.
It's one of my faves. It's when the two of them got all mushed.
And not only that, he has really popularized the use of the card in recent days.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. I brought the deck with me, so if you want to see it in action this weekend, I will show you.
It's a little scary, and he's a little scary too. The two of them are scary. That's kind of a. Now we're talking about existential, like 2 and 1 sorts of things. But anyways, there's always.
There's no way community cards could be as good as
Okay.
Hasbro/Wizards.
Hold the phone there.
I'm just project that to the screens. I say it with such determination.
Yeah, and I project the counter because you're wrong.
Here it comes.
It's counterplay. Here's my counterplay. Yes way.
What?
Don't go making statements you can't back up.
Yeah. Well, we had this early era where everybody and their dogs was creating cards, and it's definitely safe to say that in the midst of all that chaos, I would say I think a lot of people were sort of driven away from the whole community when it came to that process. Like, I don't know what to play. Everybody's creating cards. I don't know. Well, now that we're sort of like coalescing into a single community, we're sort of taking a lot of those sort of early mistakes, bringing in new experience and people that are sort of good at creating card games, and we're all collaborating to sort of create this this unified play environment, which has really been. I think the surprise of even some of the people is very diverse and very rich.
Enormously. The number of what you could call viable decks, if you want to get in that language, has widened considerably. And the other thing that is really important, I said it before, a lot of the cards being designed, when errata happens, when redesign is happening and tweaking is happening, it's all in the spirit of positive player experience, trying to remove cards that make either the other player go like, ah, crap, it's this, or make the person playing it go like, I gotta run through this rigmarole and win and get my cash prize, which no one actually wants. So we got no cash prizes. We did a survey. Numbers back it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody comes to play the game in order to win prizes, at least on a sort of statistically relevant level. I think we had 175 or 100, close to 200 people fill out the survey, and I think only about 10 people said, "I made it for cash. Give me that."
So all they got to do is get the prizes, then sell them.
Right.
So we just make sure they don't win by playing better. We play for the gusto, for the heart of the cards. Mm-hmm. I forgot which side my heart's on, so I hit both.
Yeah, a little heartburn. I have Gilthor up on the screen because it's a really good example as far as like the weird sort of interconnection of like, yes, this is a community project, but there's also these sort of strange alignments with what the official Hasbro product was doing. So Harvey Bunda was a artist that was working for Hasbro, commissioned for Lutz Commission's art for the official cards. And when we were coming out with World Strike, I reached out to him saying, "Hey, can you just do a bunch of art for us?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, I have what Hasbro, sort of charged me for each commission. But knowing that this is a community project, and you're not doing it for a nonprofit, well, I'm willing to work with you." I think he was really approaching it as sort of like a wait and see sort of thing. And nowadays, we have this great continuing working relationship. He created a bunch of cards for World Strike and Wastelands, and he was really eager. He's always emailing me saying, "Yeah, when are we going to work on the next few cards? I want to do this for love." Yeah,
the next set that he was talking about, Wastelands, has Junkions in it, and they are almost entirely original art on both sides of the cards. It's very slick stuff. You also, by the way, for those of you who like Junkions, if you do want to play that set, Rummage is in there, Nancy is in there, Ashtray is in there. I hit all the faves. That's right.
If you're looking for the deep cuts, we got you.
Trust me, I'm doing my best too. Everyone who's making cards is all these character ideas, and I'm like, What about the false enigma that Arachnid designed in IDW2?
Look, we'll get to that in the future. I'm working on it.
Where's my Spream? That's what
Okay,
they always
now
have to
you've
deal
gone
with
too far.
every single time.
The closest one is like somebody yelled at me for not making Wasteoid Gamma. And yeah, I took that one a little personally.
Well, hey, what's to keep a community creator, I just thought now by myself, what's to keep one of those from making a busted card?
Okay, here's counterpoint to that. What was to stop wizards?
Well, that was actually, I think it called my counterplay. Yeah.
What kept Hasbro from... No, that's not my point, that's your point.
That's my point. Yeah.
What kept Hasbro to keep from making busted cards? Like,
Wait, Cutthroat didn't make any busted cards. Could you name some of those busted cards?
Let's see here. Fusion Borer, Press the Advantage, Swap Parts, Peace Through Tyranny, Security Checkpoint, Quake.
Yeah, it's worth noting the final wave of the game, Wave 5, one could say with the word objectively, Wave 5 left the meta of the game in a broken state, with a lot of incredibly overpowered and very Decepticon-oriented cards, kind of demolishing the ability for people to have positive player experience if Quake was present, for example. We recently had one of the other folks who works on cards, King Naga, deal with a Quake. The last time Quake ever appeared in a deck designed to make Quake be banned, because the guy playing the deck also hates Quake, resulted in a clip of Quake being a card literally being set on fire in King Naga's sink to represent that Quake will never again darken the door, that Quake at least, of the game. Quake was unpleasant. I have Quake with me. I can show you him if you like.
Trust me, it is not a fun time.
It's it's earth shaking for sure.
A lot of math
and
involved.
I think I banned that card immediately from the scene just because I didn't want Naga to self-immolate accidentally, because there's fire involved. And
Naga, by the way, another shout out. That's another person in our community who has an exceptional talent for tunnel visioning on a certain combo of cards and determining whether or not they can become something like an infinite combo, then demonstrating that infinite combo so we can show everyone it as it gets banned.
Like, I think just from this current set we're working on alone, he's gotten at least like 6 or 7 cards changed, and he actually discovered a loop recently that has resulted in a card being temporarily banned while we figure out a way to fix it.
Yeah, is there going to be a video for that?
Yeah, we're working on it. Just, other things got in the way, like, I don't know, travel.
Travel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Naga, by the way, also has a great attitude about it, which is usually lots of sad face emojis because he was excited to play the deck he made. That resulted in us, having to take action. That's the power of King Naga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my favorite phrases to use as far as like being a card creator itself is that I should never be. This is just an axiom you should always keep in mind if you're creating cards. Never be afraid of creating cards, but also never be afraid of killing your children, because
card
children, not actual children, card children.
That was a metaphor.
Yeah, and so it might be possible for you to birth something that is just awful and terrible for the game, and so
a card.
It's a card, not actual children, and you must put it into the drawer if that's the case.
Yeah, there's been a general attitude of not being so attached. Well, I mean, people get attached to their creations, but there's always good discussion and most importantly, lots of gameplay examples and data created to back up any kind of massive point someone wants to make. But the game's dead! Hasbro will never make new cards again. Why bother playing it?
You want to answer this one?
I mean, I do have a handy little counterplay I can just hit by the down button.
Do it.
Game's only dead when players no longer play it. That's just a fact. That's just a fact.
He got me.
Fatality.
And the funny thing is like, yeah, we were dealing with about a year or so where, the numbers are dropping because, people are stuck in their houses, they can't play the game. Hasbro said, well, we don't want to publish it anymore. Community was just starting to pick up, but there's a lot of that cross noise, people not able to make much sense of it, and then, hey, look, things aren't quite so bad these days. Well, other than no internet, which may never come back. But we actually have had a lot of good experiences in the last 6 months as far as the community sort of like noticing the game again, and new players coming in going like, oh, I was never even exposed to that. I didn't even know this was a thing. Or events like TFcon. TFcon actually best convention for growing the scene. We see so many new players come in.
Out of LA, there was an influx into just a Discord channel alone, if not general interest, off of your efforts actually to put a massive spotlight on you.
Yes, that was kind of a pilot experience for TFcon LA, where I just sort of showed up and said, let's have 2 days worth of gameplay, and I'll bring some cards and I'll give them away, and then suddenly like 35 players showed up. It was crazy. And so yeah.
What better thing to do, by the way, when say a Rogers, as a random example, might be down? You know, what do I do with myself? You know what isn't digital? Actually, there is a digital side to this. You know what isn't digital here at the show, as long as you're in the presence of printed cards, is cards.
Right. And I think maybe the experience when we were playing at the other shows is like, oh, I'm going to look at my phone, I'm going to play the game, I'm going to look at the phone. Well, you don't have to look at your phone now because your phone doesn't work. Well,
Gallows humor is how we cope.
it is indeed. I'm taking that a little
But
personally.
stewardship, but wait, is this the thing I...
This is not something to be shocked at. Or
Oh, hey, I just realized stewardship of the Transformers TCG has now been in the community's hands longer than it was in Hasbro's.
accurate. 18 months for Hasbro, and we just passed the 18-month mark.
And we finally fixed Wave 5, I think. I don't think there's anything pollutant from Wave 5 left.
There might still be a couple of things, but we're working on reining those in.
Yeah, this is because guess what? A lot of it was Wave 5. That's what a lot of, like the initial rush of all that big swab of names, a lot of those names' first mission statement was, don't worry, we'll fix Wave 5. That was a huge intent going in.
Yeah, it definitely set us up for a little bit of a challenge, but it's a challenge we're mostly through, and gameplay right now is really. I don't think there's anything wrong with me saying it. It's actually better than it's ever been.
I can confirm.
Yeah. But we're talking about the future where the game will continue.
Is it exciting though?
Is it exciting?
Yep.
I'm pretty excited.
It absolutely is exciting as somebody
Yeah.
who's experienced it pretty much from the get-go when this community effort started.
Yeah.
Well, there's a room for it here at this show where you could witness or even participate in playing this game.
It's at this event.
At this event. At this event? At this event. There's going to be a TCG room with free starter decks for players, with drawings for prizes on Saturday and Sunday, 2 p.m. on Saturday, 12 noon on Sunday. I'm just thinking of all this off the top of my head. You must be present to win, I've decided. And hey, maybe all evangelists will present a Unicron raid. Unicron is the, hey, look over there, it's Unicron, he snuck on the panel. When that get there?
I will ensure he is defeated.
What a nice print job that someone got at Staples and cut really nicely and rounded the
It's okay.
corners on.
It's okay.
Ooh.
It's okay.
So yeah, if you are a lapsed player, then please come and see how the game's doing. We'd love to reintroduce you. If you've never played the game and you want to, please come and play the game. We can give you cards to play with. If you just want to see how it plays, then please come as well. Just, we might do the thing where we're like, the first one's free. If you really want to get in on this, on the ground floor. You're going to go to the moon. No, we're not doing that, are we?
Well, I was going to go into this diatribe of how it would suck all the money out of the bank, and then your family would leave you because you're spending all the money again. But there's actually a lot of opportunities to get cards for free, so unfortunately your family's going to stay intact.
It's worth mentioning, by the way, while you're here, and we got you here, and I got your ear, go on a website called teletran1.net. That is run by our mutual pal Zero. It's one word, Teletran1, with the 2 A's.
And it's the number one.
The number one. Zero has been doing a whole lot of work creating a site that is like a central hub database for everything that's going on with the game right now. But one other really important thing that's in there, say that you missed out on the official cards, and for instance, Wave 5 is fairly expensive to come by now. There might be a part on Zero's site you could go to that might have the words PDF or zip on them that might relate to just doing a thing that the tabletoppers call print and play. In regards to something I might have just talked about. I'm not really sure where that could be going.
Maybe,
but
unconfirmed at this point.
It is a proxy-friendly game. We're up there with Netrunner now, where gameplay is built around proxying. If you're worried about, can you feel your way through cards? We've tried hundreds of different printing styles. It is very difficult to on purpose make your deck something where, I can tell where the proxies are, without it being either really obvious, or B, why are you doing that much effort in a game with no cash prizes in the first place? Everyone's just gonna stop playing with you. So it's a really good scenario right now, and it is basically a free game minus printing costs if you want to play in physical.
Exactly.
What if
you can also play in digital?
Yeah.
We have 2 channels you can play through digital, Octagon and Tabletop Simulator. So we do have mods for both. I think the original support for Octagon only supported Wave 1 through 5 and a little bit more potentially. But now you can actually get set up so that all the community cards are being it's a pretty good setup where we have a lot of the images set up on Teletran 1. Teletran 1 actually, through the setup with Octagon, will actually pull that information from Teletran so that that information is synced up with the Octagon mod. So that if we make changes on Teletran 1 where new cards come out, boom, it's already in. It's already in Octagon. Same, very similar process with Tabletop Simulator. If you're looking to play that physics engine, and you can install a add-on through Steam, and then the Steam will automatically pull in the new cards. And anytime you want to, get the new cards, you just simply update the mod and then pull them out of bags, basically.
Yeah. And stewardship of those two platforms is within the community now, 100%. So everything is in-house. Any discrepancies, we just bump someone on Discord and say, hey, this isn't working, and someone goes, oh, I'll go take a look at it. The whole thing is what we could call a warm family setting right now.
Yeah, and it's a virtuous circle too, because if you see a problem with the card and you let us know, then we make the change, and then you just get immediate results for bringing us that feedback.
Yeah,
so.
And TTS and Octagon are both ways where you can get a deck list as a file you just plug in. So it's worth noting, net decking is fine. We do not shame net decking, and it's a great way to also play catch up with the game if you're a lapsed player.
I'd go as far as to say I encourage it.
Yeah, especially for Quintessons. They're a whole new bag. Junkions as well. That's a case where you might enjoy just being given a deck and walking through it a bit.
Yeah, sometimes I net deck for Quintesson decks because they're kind of confusing and I don't know what...
Well, you got to talk to the designer.
Oh, yeah.
And then have it out. It's a guy named Adam.
That's probably why I'm having so much trouble.
Yeah, you got to find Adam. He's usually doing work for BILLMOO.
Yeah.
That's the guy who does some of the cards.
I'm just an intern here.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. You have a nice laptop. I like it.
It's okay. It doesn't belong to me.
Mine doesn't either. Hey, look what's coming out in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, 14 days. Are those the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In metric.
Wastelands. So this is a new release. We're calling this Wave 8. And yeah, I'm really excited because the beta test will have been longer than a year when we finally. So if anybody ever says, "Hey, you guys don't test your cards,"
we absolutely do. We take part. I say we in this case because the beta testing has involved entire tournaments that encourage running beta cards and attempting to damage them in your playing of them, so that data can be collected. So I've taken part in that. I had a thing with there's a stratagem for Dirge. That I took part in testing for by running a deck about it. It was a deck called Stratty Boom Doom. I wrote a little poem on the bottom of the deck list. You can find it on Teletran 1.
And you can also find footage of that deck on my live channel, which is just Servants of the Dice Gods Live, if you want to see what he was up to.
Tons of gameplay on that channel, by the way.
I made the card.
Made a real good stratagem for Dirge.
What's it called?
It's called Sonic Doom. It means Dirge can kill people and then attack again, because it's Doom! But this set has rolling actions, a new type of action that works itself really seamlessly in with the nature of what secret actions are. It's almost like an opposite secret action. You play it out, it sits on the table for a turn, then just chills out there and is usable. Stations are basically vehicle seats that characters can jump into when they attack or defend. Guess what every Junkion has in their alt mode? A seat for someone to jump on that they can use. And there's Junkions who introduced Drifter and Bandit. Those are titled...
Wait, who is that?
That's Ramaj from IDW. She's famous for transforming. It's a pretty cool character, actually. There's been some very cool decks with Rummage.
Rekgar sold separately.
Rekgar sold separately.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, by the way, all available for viewing on bayformers.net, anywhere that the community exists. And pretty much, does that bring us to the end of the slideshow?
No, there's also one more little thing.
One more thing, the Arcwave 1.
Arcwave 1 was a extremely popular community set that was released, I would say, about 3 months after the game came out. Very popular, has a very large built-in audience.
Has that Scorponok.
Yeah, has Scorponok here. Very high production values as far as the look of the release. Very admirable, very great to just sort of look at. Slight problem with some of the balance issues, like sort of like high power level. Just they took their whole sort of approach towards Wave 5 is like, well, Wave 5's super broken. We got to take that brokenness and take it one level up.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and so we know a lot of the ARC folks. We've talked a lot about they've made some spectacular cards. Not the best for play, but we are actually after Wasteland's release, we're going to go ahead and balance it. We're going to release it as a set called Arc Exodus. We're actually going to throw in some new cards in there as well to help help support the set. But it's bringing it into balance with the rest of the community so that, hey, we continue to have a nice, diverse play environment. One of the great things about this project is that some people have already gone and printed Arcwave 1, and so of course when they hear the news that it's being rebalanced, you know, there's sort of that negative, like, I've already invested money into this, that doesn't sound great for me. I'm like, well,
Sharpies.
Sharpies and scissors. No, that's actually not good. We're going to reach out to those people and see if we can get them set up with new printed cards. So,
Yeah. Oh, and if you like printed cards, guess what you can win this weekend? Come by the TCG room and find out.
So that's the near future of the community, and I certainly hope that everybody will come and join us because, yeah, it's a great place to be right now, trust me.
Yeah. You can find us on all these links, Facebook, Discord, .org. And if you have any questions about any of the stuff we've been talking about, as I said before, if you want to play, if you want to watch, anything at all, come by the TCG room. One of us three will probably be in there this weekend. And we are really happy to engage any kind of questions, especially if you are worried about like power levels and stuff. We've been through, even me, as mostly a player, have been party to a lot of conversations about that stuff. So there's a very positive vibe we can put forward to welcome you if you so choose. And I believe that runs us to time, which is why I talked about questions. We can answer them, just not right now, because we got another panel coming up. So hope you guys stick around. I hope you all enjoy the show. I hope you all enjoy the 20th anniversary of the show. That's a cheap pop.
Toronto!
That's right. And by the way, stick around through the evening because there are 2 panels coming up next, as well as an opening ceremonies, as well as a charity auction. Plant your butt in that chair if it's comfortable to do so. And enjoy it.
Bye.
I guess so. Bravo! Hey, everybody! I feel like Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody.